7 o'clock, I'm going to call the meeting to order. Jamie, if you could do roll call.
Roll call. Blackburn.
Present.
Deroni.
Here.
Hageman.
Here.
Howard.
Here.
Michigan.
Here.
McAlexander.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
Great. Thank you. Next is the approval of the agenda. Everybody's had a chance to look at that. If there's a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the approval of the regular council meeting minutes from May 19th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept council meeting minutes from May 19th, 2025.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is public comment, not on published agenda. Seeing none, we will move to discussion topics. The first discussion topic is President's Report. The President's Report really is just to first wish Bingham Farms a happy birthday. Yay. The Bingham Farms Charter was certified on June 20th, 1955, which makes Bingham Farms 70 years old this month. I just want to take a moment to thank the Charter Commission, which included the Commission Chair, William King, the Commission Secretary, James McGuire, and the other three commissioners were Frank Lambertson, William Highland, and Carson Bingham. A fun fact is that Bingham Farms had 954 apple trees on 40 acres in 1900. The apples were harvested and loaded into wagons and transported down Northwestern Highway to Eastern Market. The roads were still dirt, and that round trip took 10 hours, 5 hours each way, plus selling the apples. It was a full day. Since the roads are now being resurfaced, I thought it would be a perfect time to focus on the roads, and I found it interesting to learn that Bingham Road remained a dirt road until the 1930s when it was finally gravelled. All the other village roads remained dirt roads until 1984, when by a close vote, residents approved paving. There were those that were trying to preserve the past, while the others were trying to bring the village into the present. One last fun fact is that telegraph opened in 1928. The concrete surface made it easy to get places in a hurry, which increased speeds on telegraph and helped telegraph earn the nickname Bloody Telegraph. You know that, Chief? A very interesting little-known fun fact is that Charles Bingham helped the state of Michigan get the necessary right-of-way for telegraph. There's so much history in our little village, and today I'm just happy to celebrate our 70th birthday. So please, on your way out, take as much cake as you would like.
Who remembers the dirt roads?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I do.
You do.
Okay.
Yes, I'm sure we still
I
have
think
a
the
lot
bar.
of residents
Telegraph
that
was
are
2 lanes initially,
here.
and then they made it 3 lanes with a left turn lane at the side.
I don't remember. I wasn't here then.
My
Next
grandfather
is
was
street
a-
signs.
Late 80s.
Jamie and I had a little tiny bit of miscommunication on the president's report or president's message and the discussion topic. So, it's our first meeting together. The street sign update is really a discussion topic for all of us. And I would love to seek a motion tonight for a do not exceed amount. If we want to do this now or after we discuss the budget. Obviously, the budget committee has already taken a look at this, as well as the treasurer. In your packet, you received the latest quote from the sign company and all of the streets. So if anybody sees any misspelling or anything like that, you can just email me. I would love that, and I'll update the list. I'm pretty sure it's correct. One thing in your packet, this sign that's in here, all the signs are 12 feet. She has it going down 32 inches, which makes the sign about 9 feet tall. It's actually going to be about 10 feet tall, which is what our signs are now. So that'll be adjusted. But the pole itself, there's no cost difference because the pole itself is the same size. It's just how far they dig it down. Again, we're not 100% sure. We have to go through the permit process still with Oakland County and then go over exactly where every single street sign will be to get our permits. I don't think there will be any sort of significant cost to that. But if we want to discuss anything, it doesn't have to be today, but they're already looking into the late fall if we want to get this done this year, being able to squeeze us in. The number, again, in your packet, that our estimate for what is in the packet for right now is almost $52,000. If I could get like a do not exceed, maybe like 55 even, hopefully, I'm sure we wouldn't go over that, but that would help me just if there was any permitting costs or anything like that. Or if we decided we need one more sign blade on a street somewhere, we wouldn't have to wait another month to come back. We could get things ordered. So I just wanted to first open it up for discussion. We're still very much in the discussion phase.
Get my voice back here. A couple of things. Can I see this?
This?
Yeah.
Yeah.
A couple of questions on this is that, so for instance, in some cases we have trails, some cases we have lanes, some cases drive. Would it be better off just making that an abbreviation, number one? Number two, there are a number of different size fonts that we have in here. So for instance, Bingham Point Drive, Woodland Drive versus Timber Trail being much smaller. Also, something that's a little bit easier to see is what I call cap lowercase. So you start off, let's say Bristol Lane with a capital B and everything else then would be lowercase. A little bit easier to read. What else do I have? Oh, and are these visible at night? And I am assuming that the apply glow bleed would take care of that.
Okay, you might have to help me remember.
Do you want me to write this down?
No, I'm going to try to answer your question.
Okay.
So, for instance, Bristol Lane is Bristol Lane already. Bristol Court is Bristol Court. So, basically, I think we would go one way or the other. Either abbreviate everything or write everything out. It's really just a personal preference thing. I think writing everything out looks a little more, like, I don't know. It's a preference thing. But again, like I tried to go with what mostly is there now. And for instance, Bingham Point Drive, the sign they have right now is written out, Bingham Point Drive. And that's a private road sign. I don't want to change too much about what their preference is. So, Woodland Drive is written out. Timber Trail, there's only going to be probably one of those, and it's going to be at the east end of Timber Trail. So you're going to be going, well, there's going to be two at each end of the U, basically. So you're going to be pretty much at a stop when you're there.
I agree. I think having it written out looks more complete. It's finished.
That's why I would then suggest cap lowercase. It would be a little easier to read.
Again, that's just a preference. I don't know if it's easier to read or not, but if everybody prefers that.
I don't know about preference, I just know all the major like MDOT and RCOC signs that say 13 mile, well, I guess 13 mile is cap lowercase, but big things like Telegraph are usually all cap.
Yeah.
So I don't know if there's a consensus on what's easier or not easier to read. I think it is personal.
I think the difference is how close the letters are.
Oh, yeah.
It's when the letters are really close and you're flying by, sometimes you miss, but.
These are all 25 miles an hour.
Well, not me flying by. Sorry, Chief.
I mean, the maximum speed is 40 on the mile roads here.
Thanks,
So.
Jen. No, I just like the all caps and I like it written out. I don't know, what do you
If
think?
somebody's flying by Woodland Drive, that's on them.
Right.
The flat cameras will pick it up.
Yeah, I just think we should either do one or the other. Again, like I'm saying, that some of the courts are written out, so it's
Yeah.
either we're gonna have all of them written out, or
All of them abbreviated.
all of them abbreviated.
Well, the only ones that really look jammed in are the private roads. The Bingham Point Drive, Woodland Drive, it's smaller.
Old Orchard Trail is.
Old
jammed
Orchard
in.
Trail, you're right.
Old Orchard and Shadwood are a little bit smaller.
Yeah. But I think the rest look just fine. What do you think?
It seems to me that there's a little extra space on Old Orchard Trail that they could beef up the type font just a little bit. Unless it's my old eyes, but
No.
when you compare it to Hickory Hollow above it, that
That's true.
maybe we could just get a little more height.
Another thing to keep in mind is think about how big these blades will actually be in real life and not on a piece of paper, because that
Right.
blade is 35 inches wide, that's almost 3 feet.
Yeah,
Is that accurate?
That's true.
It's
It is.
really
It
3
is.
feet?
yeah.
I-
3
yes.
feet don't look like 3 feet when you're driving.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the thing.
When you're flying by at 70 like you
Right. I measured multiple times, and then I laid it out on my counter, and I was like, it can't be 3 feet. So I went back and I measured again, and it's 3 feet. The signs are big.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you miss that? That's huge.
Yes.
The only comment I have, is there any possibility to brighten the color gold? Because it really does seem muted against the green background.
Well, that was a question I had. Is there an example anywhere that's similar to this that we could go see?
Because, yeah, again, I
Right, depends on the computer you're looking at.
Not computer.
Like, his looks a lot different than mine, so.
I think compared,
Black
so these are
or
not
black
gonna be
and
as
gold.
reflective as
Black
like
and
the
gold.
yellow road signs or the stop signs, but they will have some reflectiveness to them,
Yeah.
from what I understand.
Right.
So the way they're gonna appear is gonna be more of a color pop than what you're seeing on page.
Okay, it's gonna be like Mike's computer, not mine.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm with you.
Because 13 and 14, that's regulated by the county.
Yeah.
And it has to be, you have to be able to see it. And they're all gonna be the same. So from what I understand is let's just say Bingham Lane, the gold color is more of a reflective color, and that's the whole back of the sign, and then they just overlay it with the green. So even the green will be a little bit reflective, because it'll come through slightly, very slightly. Which you probably wouldn't really notice until your lights were shining on it.
Do they have an example we could see?
I could ask her if she
They'll
could
probably
print
do
one
some
up.
kind of mock-up
Or do-
somehow, yeah.
Yeah.
Or do they have record of where those color combo signs have been installed?
Right.
Yeah,
In
that's
the
even
area that we
better.
can like,
Yeah.
drive over to? As
Right.
long as it's not prohibitively far.
Right, I
I
could,
like these.
I could ask
I think
her.
they're,
I like them.
Well, we don't have to go
Yeah.
past Orchard Lake Road?
No, they definitely give us a classy look.
Yeah.
what were the other colors that we had discussed?
Black and white.
Black and white.
Black and gold?
Black and white.
Black and
Black
white,
and white.
which is what
Not
Beverly
maize and
has.
blue?
No maize and blue,
No.
no.
No, not unless you're in Ann Arbor. So a lot of Beverly, bless you, has the black and white. And that's the same sign company, by the way. So this will just be something where it's a subtle change to Bingham Farms. It's not a flashy sign, but anybody that's paying attention is going to notice there's the difference between Beverly and Bingham.
It gives a little bit of class.
Mhm, mhm, mhm.
Not to say that Beverly doesn't have. And we're a neighbor,
Well, they have nice signs.
they do.
We don't.
And parks.
So, okay, I will get the answers to the reflectiveness, how bright they are, and then I need a consensus on if we want the words written out, or do we want them abbreviated? Again, Bingham Point Drive, I'm just a little bit leery to change their sign too much. They have it all written out.
written out for me,
Yeah,
written out in capitals.
yeah,
Mhm.
me too.
If I like it like this. And I guess we could ask the Bingham Point Drive people, like, maybe they're all screaming, like, no, it's too long, we need it shorter.
I talked to their president of their HOA and sent him the example.
Okay.
So from all the private roads, I got
Okay,
in writing,
that they,
they
okay,
agreed to want these signs.
okay, all right,
Yep.
all right.
Did you have another, I can't remember for sure if we answered or discussed
No.
all of your topics.
Reflective?
Yeah.
Reflectiveness.
Yeah, that's
I'll
the
find
big-
out, thank you. I'm 99% sure they are, but I'll ask. Are there any other questions? Discussion, preferences?
Do you need a motion for,
I would
Not to exceed.
I would like a motion of not to exceed so that I can keep this moving forward. We can at least go and start the permit process through Oakland County. Again, nothing will be ordered at that time, but at least we can continue to move forward.
So I move that we designate a not to exceed amount of 55,000 for signage for the village.
Mhm.
Great. And a
Second?
Any further discussion?
Bill, is there enough money in the budget?
There is.
Okay.
Can we get a roll call for this one, just
Of
because
course.
it's out of the ordinary?
Yep. Miller,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Michigan,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
DeRoney,
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
All right.
Okay, thank you very much. I will let her know tomorrow. I will get the answers, and we will start working on the permit process with Oakland County. Next is the Police Department Monthly Report. Chief Lawson is here.
Hello.
Hello.
First of all, happy birthday.
70.
Any questions on the monthly report? Yes, ma'am.
We spoke Saturday, and I have to comment. I had a friend show up on Saturday and mistakenly leave her keys and her phone locked in her car.
Holy cow.
And my first thought was, give me 5 minutes, I'll call our police department, we'll take care of it. And she's, oh, no, you can't do that. And I said, well, of course we can. And I called and apologized for interrupting you Saturday. I texted you, and you called. We had Sergeant Gorski there in 10, 15 minutes, and his tenacity was the only thing that opened that car door, because it took forever. It was an older model car, it was so difficult. But you know, he drove off, I'm waving and thinking, this is why we live in Bingham Farms, is because we have this level of service and true forgiveness and compassion for silly people like, well, I've done it too, leaving your keys in your car. But it's just another moment of being proud. We have a great fleet, yeah.
One of the things I said when I came here was that to the officers, was, don't ever forget that our bread and butter and what makes us special is the customer service. Because if they lose sight of that, well, that's just a big thing. And I know it's important to the residents and all of you, so
Thank
it's always
you.
at the forefront. So thank you.
Thank
Any other questions on?
Thank you. Sure.
So one thing that happened last month, which I was glad we got to test it out, is we had a code red alert. It was the first time we've used the system. We had a gentleman that drove into a telephone pole. He wasn't seriously injured, but the pole fell across 13 Mile. And because DTE said they were really busy because it was a holiday and they weren't coming out anytime soon, I decided to put a code red out. And I looked at the stats, and we reached 658 emails between the two villages, which is really great. What was a little bit disappointing to me was that only 60 texts went out total, and it was like 30 and 30 between the villages, and 6 actual phone calls. So we really need to get the word out there to make this worthwhile. I'd love the text messages, because that's instant, right? And any of our our viewers out there, you can just text 24639 to get signed up with Code Red. Also, if you come to the front desk here, they have one of these nice flyers where you can just scan the QR code to get signed up. And I was wondering if maybe Lisa and Jamie, if we can get a hold of the HOA presidents and have them push this out to everyone, that'd be great.
I just
Yeah.
talked to him
Yeah, we
about that
just
this
talked
week.
about it.
Good,
Yep,
excellent. And that's all I have, unless there's more questions.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thought I signed up, but I didn't get that.
Just made myself a note because I signed up.
We also have the fire department monthly report, and Chief Everbuck is here.
Good evening, everyone. You've also received our monthly report. The only thing I wanted to add is that the weather is a little bit warm, if you haven't noticed. And although it is raining a lot, the rain does evaporate somewhat quickly. So with Bingham Farms not having a burn ordinance with July 4th approaching, thank you for your email reminder. I just wanted to remind folks who, if you're doing anything with fire outside, please be considerate of your homes, of your properties, of your neighbors, and make sure you have a water supply. If you have any problems, please don't try and put it out yourself and think you're good. Give us a call, so that way we can make sure it's out, and always be conscious of fireworks safety. Move forward. Pending your questions, that will conclude my report.
Are there any questions?
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Thank
Tony.
you. If you're leaving, please grab a piece of cake and take one home too.
Never take the first, never take the last. Learn that the hard way.
2463.
Next is the village manager's report. Jamie, first report.
Yes, my first report. My report's in the packet, of course. I'm going to leave Brad and Ray to elaborate on this more, but I'd just like to say if there's any concerns or issues with the road projects, please call our office first. Also, we've got extra postcards for residents to get the updates, the emails, the Friday emails. Otherwise, I'd just like to say thank you for welcoming me so much. Thank you to the staff for being so helpful, and I'm really happy to be here.
It's been good. It's been good. Thank you. Any questions for Jamie on her monthly report? Her, manager's report?
The only thing I would like to say is, thank you.
Yeah.
I went through that and go, yeah, now we know what we're talking about. That was terrific.
Okay.
Little blurb on each thing. As I had my notes here, spot on.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, and if you ever have any suggestions or, something you like change, just let me know. But I feel like that's kind of a helpful setup, so I hope that is helpful. Yeah. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Wonderful. Moving along. I'm trying to go a little bit quick because we have so much, we're heavy on the
Yep.
on the other budget
Yeah.
stuff. Is the administrative assistant, economic development coordinator. Jimmy?
Likewise, you guys have my written report, so I'll hold for questions afterwards. The one thing I wanted to mention is, again, I'll let Brad and Ray fill us in on the actual boots on the ground stuff of the road update. I'm just going to mention that communication with them back and forth, with residents to them and to me and everything has been phenomenal. They're very responsive, they're on top of it, they're out there, and in my opinion, I think that's been going smoothly, even when there are concerns that are brought up. Other than that, I'm happy to answer any questions you guys may have.
Any questions? Oh, thank you very much.
Not yet.
Thanks, Ed.
Okay, we will then move to the road project update. We do have Brad and Ray here, so whoever wants to step first.
I'll step up even though Ray's doing most of the work. But, so did everyone get this?
Yes.
Yes, we did.
Okay, so this is something we've been trying to put together every month. Again, we can do it more often if you'd like, but it gets kind of redundant if we do it too quickly. A lot of the same stuff, but this is our account of project standing, how things are going, any hurdles we see in our way, what we did in the past month, what we plan on doing in the next month. Like I said, any roadblocks we might see, how our budget's going, any things that we need from you folks in the village, things like that. So gives a little synopsis of what's going on. In my opinion, I think it's going very well. I think we're ahead of schedule. I think we had planned on doing, the schedule had moved around a little bit, but that's the contractor, that's kind of construction. They had their own vision in mind once they got into the project versus prior to the project. So we've been trying to adapt with them and work with them as much as possible. But I think we had like a July 31st stage 2 start date, which is Bingham Road. I think we're going to beat that, hopefully. So that's where we stand right now. Our budget looks good. We're adding a couple things as we go. We're getting a lot of resident calls after the fact. It's a little frustrating just because we spent so much time ahead of the project asking people for any problems and stuff, and now I think we've gotten double or triple the responses since we started construction than we did prior to. So we're trying to work with them, but we're also being diligent in costs. We don't need to add unnecessary costs if we feel that the drainage there is sufficient, and it's more of a maintenance type issue. We'll let them know that. We'll let them know this is a maintenance issue. Culvert, from culvert A to culvert B, there is slope. Water will run unless there's mounted up debris in front of it, then it won't. So that's what we'll do some cleaning. We'll clean the culverts. It's probably another huge issue is a lot of these culverts probably have never been cleaned. So we'll clean all those out and get it in a nice set baseline here, and hopefully things work out much better. So again, we're cognizant of the bottom line as well, so we can't just add everything that people request. And we send it past Jamie, we send it past Evgeny and Lisa a little bit, when it seems fit, but we do try and make our own decisions a little. You don't need to know every single thing, but we try and make it transparent as well at the same time. So I know we had talked about communication and expectation, and I hope we're meeting that. If we're not, please let us know, and we can try and ramp stuff up or change things however you see fit. But spending a lot of time, Ray's spending a lot of time talking to a lot of people, answering a lot of questions, probably more than we expected. However, with the reduced timeline, I think we'll still be good.
I do want to reiterate that as well, is that I think that it's easy for people to call council members and express concern or ask questions, which is fine. But we do, like Evgeny said, have boots on the ground now. So I think the most efficient way for our residents to get answers is to have, if somebody approaches you and asks you, this doesn't look right, or I want this done, or they cut down this tree, or whatever issues people have been bringing forth, is to just direct them straight to the office. Because otherwise it turns into kind of like the telephone game. And there's been a little bit of times where we thought it was one thing and then it was another. And so if residents have an issue, the most time efficient, because again, we pay for all of this time, is to direct them straight to the office, see if it's something that Jamie or Evgeny are familiar with, and if not, to shoot right to you guys and get that answer immediately, I think is the best, most efficient, most cost-effective way to do this.
Unfortunately, we've had circumstances where they didn't like the answer they heard from us, so they called someone else to see if they could get a better answer that was more fitting, type of thing. But
Dad didn't like the answer.
Great job.
Dad didn't give me the right answer, so I went to Mom.
I was going to use that euphemism.
Going to Mom.
We were trained that way for all our lives.
It lasts. But Evgeny's doing a great job of filtering some stuff out, and he's getting the language down now, reading all of our responses and stuff, taking stuff on how, to try and say, this is a ditch and culvert system. This is what you have to expect from it. It's not going to drain right away. And here's what we did beforehand. And these are all the things. So,
right.
I think it's going to take more at the beginning. It always does. So hopefully, please sign up for the emails. Ray does a great job of sending out these emails weekly. We only have like 42 people signed up right now. Seems light.
I was going
for
to
how
ask
many people
how
are in the
many.
district and affected.
Yeah,
170.
sure.
Yeah.
There's 170 postcards we put at the start of this project, and only 42 people have signed up.
Yeah.
So we want to put these in the office, so if a resident comes saying hey, I have questions about the schedule or something, it's like, well, every week I send an email, you know, and we run through the schedule, we talk about what we did last week, what we did the next week. You know, I try to be very diligent about that, so, and like I said, if any of y'all are not on my email list on Fridays, either scan this or just give me your email today, and I'll put you on myself. This way, you guys are tracking with everyone else.
And maybe each council member can take a couple of those postcards and
Yeah,
even just hand them out to the neighbors.
Yeah, I think putting them in mailboxes or putting them in the doors so that neighbors actually have a physical copy of it in their hands might help. We're not a community that responds. No,
We just
we've
complain.
Until we have a problem.
Tell him.
We just complain.
that we've, I don't know, become complacent, and we don't feel that sense of urgency that we need to be on top of things.
Right.
And so I think we need to start adjusting attitudes that there is something of value, and it's important. And this is actually a really good time, because many of my neighbors come to me because they know I sit on council. Well, I didn't know that was going to happen. Ooh, come to the meeting. You know, we
The
can share.
plans were out front for months.
Yeah,
Right.
but I said,
Started
but,
this.
you know, we know, do you understand the term easement? It's a big thing, because it gives them being whoever needs to access it, control of what happens to it. So, and as soon as they understood that and remembered, that's right, they were not as upset.
Right, well, we can't put those in the postcard, in the mailbox, because we
Yeah.
don't want to pay for
Well,
another mailing.
They were
because-
delivered
Right,
firsthand.
right,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
we have paid for a couple of newsletters that were specifically about the roads.
But I
So
think even
everybody
the
should be
door,
aware now.
something, yeah.
And so
If they aren't, that means they haven't gone out of their house.
Especially if you just live on Bingham Lane right now.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff out there right now.
Yeah.
So when we started the project, we put these postcards in all of the residents' homes. So this was the sign up for the list initially. And anytime we're doing something substantial on your road, so milling the road, paving the road, on Bingham Lane, we're starting to do the underground work. That's like something big where let's put a door hanger on the door. So, you know, this, they might see it in the mail and throw it out and think it's, you know, like a political ad or something. But a door hanger, it's like, okay, what is this on my door? I have to physically open the door and get around.
That one I got.
So,
Right.
yeah, see
And
that?
I read the whole thing.
Right.
Because I had to get a magnifying glass out because the print's so small. I figured it had to be
A lot of
important.
information.
Yes, yeah,
A lot
there's
of
a lot of
information.
information.
I feel like the written communication has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
And the emails have
Really
been
has.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
That's why I think it's up to us now to just go talk to people.
Yeah.
And just communicate verbally might really help boost those numbers now.
For sure, and please,
Yeah.
if you have any neighbors that, like, email us, what are you talking about? Like,
Every-
help them get help.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
single resident that calls me with question, concern, issue with the road work, my first return question to them is, are you signed up for the updates?
Yeah.
And 90% of the time
Good
it's
one.
no, they haven't
Yeah.
heard of it, so I direct them to the link we have on our website, and then, you know, address
Well,
that
I'm
issue,
lucky
but-
because I live on Bingham Lane and I walk a dog.
Yes.
So while I'm out, I run into all the guys working. And I always say, how's it going? So what are we doing today? What about this? And I'll tell you, they are the nicest guys.
Yeah.
It's a very good group of guys. I'm very happy.
I'm really impressed.
How do they like their coffee?
What?
How do they like their coffee?
The first day I asked your young guy, he's an intern,
Yes.
then when he said that he hadn't seen the plans yet, and I said, so you're supervising? I said, you know what? Let me get you a cup of coffee. We'll sit and review those plans together. You know? But he was just, I don't know, everybody is very nice.
So give the biggest stack to Kathy, number one.
Yeah,
Yeah.
But yeah, so we have someone out there all the time
All the
too.
time.
Mike is out there all the time.
Yeah.
He's great. He likes to talk,
to Mike.
but bear with him. He's doing a great job. But he's there all the time,
Yeah.
and we know he's open to answering questions as well. And he knows if he can't answer it, he'll call Ray or I
yeah.
too. If it's beyond his level of making decisions, then yeah, he'll call us. So
Good.
hope we're meeting your expectation. There was
Yeah.
a lot of build up to this. There was a lot that went into this, and I just want to make sure that we're meeting your expectation. Communication is just a huge part of it. It's a huge part of it. So I just want to make sure that we meet what you expect.
Well, I've been very, very pleased I mean, I'm so thrilled, and I know you guys took so much time with us to getting to this point, and I think it's going as smooth as it could. So thank you so much. I know in your world, this is just a tiny, tiny project, but this is big for us, and I think it's going great.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled that we've gotten to the point where it's actually happening.
You got 2 roads already paved.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great.
No, drove
Yeah.
on them on Sunday.
I drove them today.
We drove them on Sunday too.
Yeah.
It's like,
Right.
This is great.
I know. I try to stay out of the way during the week, but take my Sunday drive, just to drive on them. It's been
I bothered to ride my bike on the chopped up one. I'm not doing that. I'll wait now till it gets paved.
it's before and after.
The milling is not
Yeah.
nice for a bike ride.
Did anybody have any other questions? I just really ask that you guys come today because I think it's important to have them
No,
before
I-
us and.
I think the communications are really good. I'm over here, so I'm not getting the direct ones, but I get the emails. I like this from some amount of detail, but I also like the division into critical decision. Like, the bottom line to me, critical decisions made, outstanding critical decisions. Like, here's the either it's going this way or that way,
Yeah.
and so that really helps.
We need to.
Yeah.
But luckily, we haven't really had too many.
Yep. So I kind of see that as the bottom lines moving forward. It's good.
And I also wanted you to come so you could have a piece of cake.
I don't mind being the first one.
Okay, good. And take some home. That's a big cake for not a lot of people.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you for coming. Did you want to add anything, or you
Oh,
were
no,
just?
yep. I mean, you guys have been great,
Support.
you know, anytime you have questions and Mike, our field rep, can answer, you could always ask me, I'm happy to help.
Okay.
You know, I try to keep things like quick and concise, because I know money is a lot and you guys are trying to save, but I'm always happy to answer questions. I've talked to plenty of you on the phone before, so.
Right, right.
I'll continue to do that. So,
Yeah.
An email.
Thank you. Thank
This
you.
is for you guys to keep.
Okay,
Here.
good. We'll
And
pass
then,
it
yeah,
out.
is there anyone else that does not get my emails? I won't be upset. I just want y'all, I don't want you guys missing anything, because a lot of the residents ask you guys about what's going on. so-
Pat, do you want to put in yours? Oh, okay.
She knows how to sign up for it.
That's all I need.
That's all you need, right?
Ray,
First one,
I'll
you're the
sign
first
that
one?
too. I'll have mine.
Yeah, you should, yes.
Probably.
Yeah.
I like the one on Bingham Point parking.
Yeah.
That is a good one.
Well, I got things you don't expect or realize when someone points it out.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Of course,
And that was their solution to it. Oh, just go park on someone else's grass.
Oh, yeah. That was an emergency email.
Yeah.
That was bad.
I'll put mine in there too.
That'll make
I
everything
know
better.
Kat's there, but I never see what she gets.
It's gonna take every ounce of strength I have to leave this building.
I won't, you don't have to remind me to.
Without cake.
I haven't had sugar.
That's a sugarless cake.
Awesome.
Thank you.
If you didn't buy it, it's not sugar.
Excellent.
Oh, look at
Yeah,
that.
real smooth.
Oh,
Good to know.
What
Thank
flavor
you.
was that?
I don't know what flavor.
what kind of cake is that?
Costco flavor.
Y'all have a great night. See you, Ray. Happy birthday.
Yeah, yellow cake.
Thank
Thank you.
Casco.
Yeah.
Yes.
The best.
Yes. Yes. Moving to new business, moving right along. We are going to hold the public hearing for the budget.
But before that, before that,
Oh, sugar.
I think she needs this whole section as budgets.
yes.
Oh, I had different, sorry.
No, my fault, my
Oh,
fault.
is that an outdoor agenda?
Yep, yep, my fault.
It's okay.
Like an hour early, sorry.
It's okay, no problem. We're still working out our communications. So we're gonna start with the budget amendments for fiscal year 2024, 2025.
I can,
Yes.
want me to take
Correct,
over?
Correct, no, that's correct, that's correct, sorry. Yes, that's correct, sorry.
Yeah, I can share
Yep.
bills, you can keep that.
All right,
Bill, why don't you introduce this?
all right. Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, Bill.
New business
Change this
section.
last minute.
There's,
Sorry.
there's 10 items and 3 sub-items. I'm not sure if I heard it correctly, but I heard someone say, did I hear it correctly, that the treasurer is heavy? I've been trying to slim down. I'm not gonna have any cake, I'm trying to slim down. In any event, yeah, there's a number of items, so I'm just gonna go through it. And if there's any questions, I'm gonna try to streamline it, but make sure if there's any questions, you have it all, please feel free to ask. So the first one is kind of the way it logically would flow, is the budget amendments for the 2024-2025. There are in your packet 3, I reviewed this obviously with our accountant in our amendment and our auditor, as was in Jamie's memo. There's 3 sections that we're doing budget amendments to: general fund, major road fund, and local road funds. So for those of you that don't know, it's not by line item, it is by department number or by department. If you happen to be over budget within the department, it has to be adjusted so that you are within line and everything is funded correctly. The majority of it is under the major road and local roads are due to the fact that we're in the middle of a project and money's got to be moved over from the general fund to those specific funds. Under the general fund, the clerk's department is the first one, and that's a $7,200 budget amendment to move it over. That is basically due to 2 things. One, we don't know for the personal time off payout at the beginning of the year when I do budget, how many days I'm going to have to account for of what our employees or staff hasn't taken, and then when we cash them out. The second one is that we had kind of a dual thing going, 2 meters going at the same time when Jamie came on for a little bit in May, and we also had Ken before we offboarded and settled him out. So it's $7,200 under the general fund for the clerk's department, department number 215. The major,
If I could ask a question, and
Sure.
and your answer will probably be good for the other 2 as well.
Mhm.
So, help me understand the process here. When you say it's an increase of $7,200 for the reason you just provided, that's fine. But I don't understand how it works. You're saying you're going to add $7,200 to the 2024-2025
right,
budget?
we're amending the budget so that we don't run over within that department.
Because again, it's just me not accustomed to that. I report a variance to a budget, but I don't adjust the budget just because I spent more than the budget. But so you're going to actually increase the budget 2025,
24-25.
24-25 by that number.
Yes.
And that way we can then look at what 2025-2026 might bring, I guess. So are you going to change the numbers on the actual?
No,
budget,
what this is going to do, well, what we'll do
That's the real
is,
question, yeah.
twofold. One, once we do these appropriations or do this budget amendment, we also look at, when we're going through it, we looked at it and said, okay, what do we have left that we haven't received in from billings yet, right? We're going to have to do some retirement posting still for MERS and for some things. So that $7,200 makes that portion so that we're not over budget for the clerk's office.
So you're trying really hard right now because it's almost the end of the fiscal year.
Right.
You're trying to get those adjustments in.
Right, exactly.
As best you can at this moment.
Yes.
Okay.
And the second part of your question is, and then I'll go back again to the first part, but the second part is, once we adopt the budget, which we have to tonight, we can also amend and/or I'll do a budget and then I'll do an amendment budget after the audit, if everything folds out. Going back now to the major road and local roads, and you said you understood that because it's basically the same. That portion is, I don't know if Florence Cement's going to be giving me, I'm sure they will, but I don't know for a fact that we are going to be getting an invoice for them, because typically they'll start billing on a monthly basis. So I have no idea I have some idea, but I don't know exactly what that's going to bring in.
That's what you're planning for?
Yes,
Okay.
exactly.
Makes sense, yeah.
Exactly. And then that way what happens is, since we're not going to be over budget in those departments, it doesn't have to be, we were, it would have to be footnoted in the notes when the audit report comes back out. So you kind of,
So when you reconcile the end of the year, all
Yes.
of this will be
Yes.
amended, if you will,
Yes.
in the new budget.
yep, and you will have, I don't know if you were here for the audit report last time,
No.
but Raina will come in and she'll present the audit
Oh, I was in the gallery.
in the gallery. Okay. Yeah, VPI seats. So.
No.
VPI.
Yes.
VIP.
VIP, I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was going to say, I'm not sure what you mean by that.
Yeah. So that is the budget amendment portion for that within those three categories. So 215 for the general fund under clerk's department, major road funds under number 449, and same holds true for local roads funds 449. So we're moving over 153,000 in the major and then 300,000 in the local. And then we should be fine as invoices come in and as we pay for them. Okay? So that one is a motion. And I just need someone from council to.
I will make a motion to amend the budget expenditure lines for the 2024-2025 general fund, major roads, and local roads funds as presented.
And I will second.
Any further discussion? This is a motion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Okay, I will turn it back over to President Blackburn for the public hearing on the budget.
Okay, I am going to open the public hearing for the 2025-2026 budget at 7:47. Did you want to present anything before?
Yeah, I could. I can just talk. Well, first of all, let me just say this. I want to give a great big thanks to the Budget Committee, which consisted obviously of Eric, Diane, and Lisa. There was a number of things, puts and takes that were going on. There was a lot of things personally going on for me, and we all pitched in together, and I appreciate your patience to get it done. So everything in the budget line items were well vetted. There was a lot of conversation over it. What I will say this year is we are not in a deficit budget. Again, also reviewed with our accountant and our auditor. I also reviewed it, and I went over it with Jamie, and she helped out tremendously too, just with some formatting and just a second, third pair of eyes going through it. We're not in a deficit budget, but what is the issue with this year's budget is we have a number of commercial districts that appealed their taxable values. They went directly to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and we have 5, actually now 6, I believe. I just got another one today that came through. One's been determined, the other ones are still pending, and the bottom line on that is that's about $10.5 million in assessed value that could change and lower. If that does it, it obviously affects our mill rate that we tax at, therefore there's less revenue that's built in. So that, in conjunction with just the normal increases for cost year over year, library goes up 3%, it either goes up by 3 or consumer by the index. There's just a number of things that come in. Some stay the same, like our trucking stayed the same, they're not increasing our rates for that. But that, in conjunction with that, we have to reserve for taking in less revenue, and that's why we're in a situation where the revenues do not exceed the expenses for this year. Until we actually find out what the rulings and the pendings are on each one of those appeals, we won't know until then. But again, what we have to do is we set aside about $105,000, a little bit more than $105,000 less to be able to do that. Now, with that said as well, the ones that came from last year, because they actually filed for it in 2024, I just received an invoice from Oakland County asking for reimbursement since they had to lower and give back the money in that portion. So they came back to the village in order to get a check cut. That actually we just got signed today. I need to send it to them before the end of this month. But we will see how all that pans out. It's out of our hands. It's within the tribunal. And once we look at that, we will obviously act appropriately. When I did review it with Raina, our auditor, she said, obviously, we have a general fund, which is a great tribute to past councils and this council's of being as conservative as we are to build up those funds. So we do have the money. It's just that we don't want to continually, year after year, be in a position where our revenues don't exceed our expenses. So I don't want to say time will tell, but things change over time as far as assessed values and things like that. We've had some sales of houses, so the cap comes off of that. We have some projects where we may have some new construction or building within the village, so that's also a possibility that our tax base could be increased. And we'll just see how, I don't want to say how it plays out, but how the assessed values go for the next year and what that drives as far as revenue. But other than that, I don't like to be in a situation where where revenues don't exceed expenses, but it is what it is. We can weather it. We don't have a problem. We're not in an issue where we're in a shortage of money or we're going to be insolvent or anything like that. But we still have to keep our eye and make sure we keep doing the best that we do to conserve cost and the things that we always do. Yes.
Wait,
trustees.
I'm sorry. This is the public hearing.
Oh,
So that whole conversation was directed to the public?
yes.
Oh, we're still in the hearing.
Yes.
All right.
So that's an overview. Thank you.
So we're still in the public hearing, which is only an opportunity for the public to comment and ask questions. So if there are any questions or comments from the public, I would ask them to come to the podium, approach the podium, give your name and address. You have 3 minutes. You know all of this. All comments should be addressed to the chair, which is me. There is no back and forth. And welcome.
Thank you. Kathy Hageman, 32671 Bingham Lane. I just have a basic question, and if you can answer it after the fact, that would be great. And I don't know if this information is public information, but if we have a number of the commercial properties that are asking for assistance from the tax tribunal, is it public info as to who those companies are? That's it.
The answer is yes.
Okay. We'll answer that one question. The answer is yes. That's the only, we're just going to say
It is
yes.
public info. Thank you.
Were there any written comments
None
submitted? Are there any other public comments? Are there any questions from staff? Okay. I'm going to close the public hearing at 7:53. It's not on here. So then we will do you want to do the appropriations next?
Yes, unless there's any other questions.
I did have a question, just quickly. When a house is built, do they start paying taxes with the certificate of occupancy or when it's sold?
Go ahead.
They start paying taxes on the parcel as soon as they are the owners of the parcel. The value of that property will change once the house is built. So until the house is built and certificate of occupancy is issued, it's
Okay.
valued like an
Right.
empty plot of land.
Right.
And once the house is completed, you get the full assessed value.
What's the primary criteria that the building owners are submitting to the appeal, the tax court, for reducing their tax burden?
In the case of the village, it's been typically, from what I've understood and looked back at, once every 4 years, they go and they have their law firms that they keep on retainer to go ahead and look at it. It has a lot to do with market value, the current market conditions, the case where COVID caused them to lose a lot of occupancy, and they're trying to come back, but from my understanding, it was, the last time that this happened was 4 or 5 years ago, and they just have their law firms or their attorneys that
Right,
represent them.
routine thing.
Yep, they can, and with commercial property, instead of going to the regular review board of review, they can appeal directly to the Michigan Tax Tribunal, and that's the path that they take. It gets logged onto a docket. I get the docket numbers. This year also, Joe was very kind to be able to just bring me a copy of it since he was on the board of review as well to let me know. And then I just go in, talk to the county assessors. They give me a link of where I can look to see what has transpired, if there's been any movement. And then once a decision's made, I get an order from the state of Michigan that says, here's what they asked for, this is what it was approved at, or disapproved, right? Whatever the decision happens to be.
But yeah, you've been tracking occupancy, right?
Yeah.
And it's increased.
There are several factors that commercial property owners rely on when they make their arguments to the tax tribunal. One is certainly the occupancy. The other one is also the age and class
Yeah,
of the buildings.
right. Upkeep.
So if,
Yeah.
as the building ages and the property becomes less desirable for tenants, they have to increase their occupancy by dropping prices, right? So if they drop prices, they can make the argument of, well, the building's not making us the same revenue now, therefore it shouldn't be valued at whatever it was valued at before when it was in its prime, if you will. So,
Yeah.
so there's, as with everything in life,
Yeah.
multiple factors.
Always, always. Thank you.
Are there any other questions?
So we are, by state law, have to adopt the budget. So the next one is the Adopt Appropriations Act for the 2025-2026 budget, and it is a resolution.
Would somebody like to offer the resolution to adopt the Appropriations Act?
I will so move.
What? Go ahead. Were you going to finish it? I was just asking. I wasn't making that.
Well, I was going to so move whatever you said, so,
Oh.
yeah, adopt the Appropriations Act for fiscal year 2025-2026 budget.
I'll second.
Any further discussion?
All right,
Roll call.
resolution. We'll have a roll call. Blackburn,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Mishigian,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is to adopt the 2025-2026 millage rate. We discussed this also in our budget committee. The 2 prior years ago, we were at 9. Last year, council approved an additional of 1 mil to 10. We are staying at 10 mils, and we just need the council to approve by resolution, the adoption of the millage rate at 10 mils for this coming tax year.
I make a motion to approve the millage rate staying at 10 mils for 25-26.
Second.
Any discussion?
I guess I just have a question to
Yes.
I guess I look to the budget subcommittee,
Yes.
right? And I'm very much trusting, right, you've worked a lot more in detail with Bill going through all of this. And since you made the motion, it all sounds good to me, and I just wanted to kind of share and talk about the fact that that's why we have the subcommittee, so thank you. And any concerns out of you, but since you're making the motion, that's good for me.
Thank you.
No concerns?
All right.
Okay. We're all good?
I'm not hearing any.
Yeah.
I'm glad
Okay.
Mike trusts us.
You could be at the committee next year.
I'm in awe.
Did we get a second?
Since it,
Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yes. But since it's a resolution,
Roll call.
roll call. Miller,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Mishigian,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay, item number E on the agenda, adopt the police special assessment district for 2025-2026. This is also a resolution. Last meeting, we had the public hearing for the police SAD. It is something that happens every year for the commercial district where 2 officers are assigned to it. All the details, everything was published. All the parcels were notified of what the assessment's going to be. The total cost of the SAD is $397,393.28, and the resolution is in your package that I'm sure that you've read to take the next steps, which is to adopt it. Unless there's any questions that you have regarding the police SAD.
And just to be clear, this is just a pass-through of...
It is a pass-through. We collect it, and then we pass it through on a monthly basis back to the police department.
Would anybody like to offer the resolution to adopt the police SAD for 25-26?
I'll move to adopt the police SAD district for 2025-2026 budget.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Blackburn,
Aye.
Droney,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Michigan,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay.
Move to the Woodland Pump.
Item number G, Woodland Pump. Adopt the Woodland Pump Special Assessment District. Again, every year, there are 11 parcels that we assess the special assessment for that pump, and it's the maintenance. This year is the same dollar amount. It's a pass-through. It was $4,200. It's spread across the 11 parcels. Letters went out notifying each one of those 11 parcels of what the assessments were. And it is not to be confused with the other work and project for the capital replacement of that pump. We've discussed that in prior council meetings, but this is just the $4,200 to assess the maintenance of the pump. And again, it's resolution. It's in your packet.
Would anybody like to offer the resolution for the Woodland Pump SAD?
I'll offer a resolution to approve the annual maintenance fee for the Woodland Pump Station for the 2025-2026 budget.
Go ahead.
I second.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Michigan,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Droney,
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
All right.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, I correct myself, actually it was F was Woodland. G is now certified delinquent water and sewer accounts for the 2025 tax roll. It's also in your packet, it is also a resolution. Every year we get notification from WRC of what parcels are delinquent for both water and sewer. This year, water and sewer were delinquent for a total of $24,013.03. The parcels, there were 10 parcels that have that. We have to add it to the tax roll. I've already put it into Oakland County Tax so that they have the ability to load it into the system. But council has to certify it before tax bills go out. So that's what this resolution accomplishes. Any questions regarding that?
Yes, so council has to approve it before letters go out to the individual, the homeowner, requesting that they make their account current?
This is a certification, and what it does, it gets added to their tax bill.
Okay.
So when they get their tax bill, they'll have their operating. If they have another special assessment, if it was Woodland, they would have that, and then they would also have 2 other line items if they happen to be delinquent for water and or sewer. In each one of these parcels, I believe there was, all of them were both water and sewer. They had delinquencies in them that totaled to $24,000 and change.
All right. My bill's paid automatically. Not everybody pays it automatically?
Well, evidently, not everybody pays it at all.
WRC?
You mean your water bill?
I thought everybody, that was required. You had to, no?
No.
No.
Oh,
They cut your water off somewhere along the way.
I just do.
Well, I don't know
always
what-
have.
Huh?
So this happens yearly, so
Mhm.
these people have accumulated that much in a year,
Yes.
that it goes on their tax bill.
Yes.
So this
Some
is
houses are
only-
large, and a couple of these, at least one of those is a commercial
Commercial.
property.
I was going to say, someone's got a
Yeah.
lot of water here yet.
Yeah. Are these repeat offenders year after year?
Some of them are, some of them are new. But most of them, it happens, and then when we go through settlement, then it gets turned over to county, and county goes after and collects the funds. After a certain date, actually in March, after a certain date in March, then I'm stopped and I can't collect it. I turn everything over to Oakland County, and Oakland County pursues it.
Boy, do they.
Would anybody like to offer a resolution to certify the delinquent water and sewer accounts?
I will resolute that we certify the delinquent water and sewer accounts to the 2025 tax roll.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Blackburn,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Mishigian,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Miller.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is approval of the funding for our 3 community service partners next. Birmingham Youth Association and the Bloomfield Birmingham, I believe, Coalition. All the information on each one of these organizations are in your packet, and it is something that we have been doing for on an annual basis. The amounts are as follows. Next, we provide them with $4,290. That was the same as we did last year. All these are the same as we did last year. The Birmingham Youth Assistance Program, $1,200, and the Birmingham Bloomfield Community Coalition at $1,000. And this one is by motion versus resolution, and I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have, but I think pretty much council's been,
It's the
has seen
regular.
it before, has seen it before.
Anybody like to offer a motion?
Trying to figure out what to call them. Is this the resolution for the receipt and, the smart municipal?
It's a motion, yeah.
It's a,
No, I'm reading the wrong one. I was gonna make a move, and I thought I found it.
Well, I move that.
It's in his memo.
Yeah, it's funding.
there it is.
Yeah,
So let me
yeah.
just help you out. It's funding community service providers.
Okay, there you go.
I'll make a motion to approve the community service providers for the 25-26 budget year.
And I'll second.
any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Next is the Metro Act funding transfer. Are you going to speak to this
Yep.
one?
Yeah, so this is pretty standard, typical. These are smart funds since we don't have our own transportation service at Bingham Farms. We transfer these funds to Next, typically. That's basically our best option so that we still get those funds to provide services to our residents. So it's very typical, and approval by resolution is appropriate to transfer that dollar amount. It's the same dollar amount as last year. And so I recommend it's basically just a pass through. We're just transferring these credits onto Next.
Okay. Would
And
anybody-
then next arranges transportation
Yes.
as needed, however that is. Okay.
Yes, yes.
Good.
Yep.
Yeah. They have 2 drivers,
Good.
multiple vehicles.
Yeah, and it's a small dollar amount, but hey, every dollar is
No, I
great.
agree, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep. Would anybody like to offer the resolution?
It's a resolution?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would, yeah. I'd like to do a roll call for it.
Yep.
I'll offer the resolution that we provide the funds for the Metro Act funding transfer.
Perfect.
Second?
I'll second the motion.
Great.
Roll call.
Miller,
Aye.
McAlexander,
Aye.
Mishigian,
Aye.
Howard,
Aye.
Hageman,
Aye.
Deroni,
Aye.
Blackburn.
Aye.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
Yep. I'll follow up with that tomorrow, so we're all set.
Perfect, thank you.
Yep.
Do you want to keep going then with the
Yep.
employment contracts?
For sure. So the treasurer's contract was due for renewal this June. No changes to it at all, other than the already approved budget increase. The administrative assistant economic development coordinator has never had a contract, so the attorney did prepare one. Basically, it's everything, not basically, it is everything he's already followed with our personnel policy. No changes there. Mine, if you recall, my contract, there was a correction with the previous manager's like date in there. And so I think just in a hurry, he kind of deleted everything. So he put some more generic language in there just to clarify that. And so these are just a renewal of our employment contracts. So a motion to approve those would be appropriate. You know, we also, like I said, we have a personnel policy, but having a contract is also makes things clean too. So if you have any questions, let me know.
Most of the employment contracts are 2 years. Jamie's this year will be 1 year.
Mhm.
Sort of instead of doing a, like an, what do you call, when you?
Interim.
Like an automatic.
An amendment to
No.
contract every year?
No, doing a,
Probation.
probationary period. Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah. Yeah, don't fire me. I just.
To the police chief. So instead of a probationary period here, we do a 1 year contract first.
Yeah.
And then after this 1 year, she will fall into the 2 year contract like everybody else. And Yevgeny will also be, they'll all be on the same schedule at that point next year.
We'll all be on probation.
You'll all be on, you'll be on probation.
Probation officer.
No more
You're on
probation.
permanent probation.
You know what, Eric, I'm on probation at home, I'm on probation here. Doesn't matter to me.
Yeah. But it's just kind of technical language. There's nothing of, you know, to note that's of a change or anything like that. Yeah.
Nothing has changed. It's
Yeah.
what we do every year.
Yeah.
It's just
But
do an
they're all
amendment to
at-will
the,
employment.
Exactly.
So-
100%. Yep.
right. This just makes it a little bit cleaner
Mm-hmm.
For Yevgeny's role. And then every year we do the treasurer and the village manager.
Yep.
But again, we just.
And these were,
Down a little
like I
bit.
said, prepared by the attorney. So.
And we
yeah.
already approved it all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is there a motion to approve the employment contracts as presented?
I make a motion to approve all 3 employment contracts as presented.
I second.
Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Wonderful. Moving on to the treasurer's report.
Heavy treasurer.
You're back on.
I never called him.
All right, so treasurer's report, 3 items this time around. In your packet, you'll see, as you do every month, the first one is we've done the budget amendments, so that's cleared, but the disbursement of funds for both the general and gas and weight. The dates were May 18th, for both May 18th of this year through June 21st. Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at last year's, because I keep both. So this year's, it is May 20th, 2025 through June 23rd, today, 2025. Under the general fund, we dispersed $169,897.37. Under the gas and weight, $21,001.38, for a total of $190,898.75. All the detail, as it is every month, is in your package, and if there is any questions to that, please let me know. This is a motion as well.
Is there a motion to approve the bills?
I also move that we approve the June 2025 bills.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Next item on the agenda, the treasurer's report, is the profit and loss budget for May 2025. Again, in your packet, you'll see the report for the period ending May 31st, 2025. We're 92% through the fiscal year. Again, everything's tracking. Any issues that came up where we may or may not be tracking the budget or needs adjustment were handled underneath the adjustment for the budget appropriations, amendments, I should say. And again, I look back again this year compared to last year, and again, we're tracking just very close to where we were last year at the same time. When we end up for June again, everything will come through, we'll do adjusted and go through the audit, but this is for the end of May of 2025. If there's any questions that I can answer to that, I'd be happy to do so. This is also a motion.
Can I ask a question? I have no problem with this. It's a curious question, I guess. So, because this year was the first year of the SAD assessments, at least for the roads.
For the roads.
And based on reports I see from Jamie, maybe it's even from there are a number of people, almost half the people at this point have come forward and paid in a lump sum.
46%.
Yeah, so that was a surprise to me, but it's a fact. So when you receive revenue like that, in other words, we had revenue that could have been called unanticipated because they paid in a lump sum. Do you take all that revenue at the time you get it, or do you put it in some kind of prepaid account?
We do. We do. So what we
that
do,
way you can budget the years to come accurately.
yes.
Okay.
So the process is, keeps a very detailed spreadsheet of who pays what, when, and where. And then that's how he can tell that 46% paid in full versus the others and what the numbers are. We set that aside in the, Raina had me create a SAD account, and we have that so that we have it in and recognize that obviously I deposit the checks, it's there. And then as we start making the payments, then we go through and apply that portion of when we get the expense of what we do to fund that portion that goes against the bills that come in for the assessment that we apply towards, or assessed, I should say, to each one of those individual parcels within that phase one project.
But we don't get a wrong impression just because we got all the cash right now.
Right.
But then we don't look forward and say we're going to get a lot less in the future, which means less revenue, because are you amortizing it like a prepaid account?
We are, we are accounting for it so that
that's all you got.
what we make
all you
sure.
got to.
Yeah. And we had some folks that, we just sent out notices earlier this month that the ones that have not paid, we send them notices to let them know that they're past due on that as a reminder. And we've got a couple in since we've sent that note out. So we'll continue to monitor and do that.
Good.
And actually, the one that came in late and paid today, paid in full.
Paid in full.
Paid in full, yes.
Bill, we are going to charge interest on delinquent SAD payments, correct?
Yes, 1% per
And
month.
since we have higher than anticipated payments in full, is the interest line that you booked in anticipation of the interest amount, is that going to be changed? Or is that?
Yes, because if you pay in full, you don't,
There's no
remember,
right.
council decided first payment, no interest, as far as the 7% that we're going to apply by ordinance. Anyone that is late, there is that 1% per month on the uncollected balance. And as you have said, the one that just paid today, paid in full. We also do have a couple of, we did take in I know that we took in at least one payment where someone thought it was going to be on a monthly basis, that they had to pay the installment instead of on a yearly basis. So they paid twice, and the gentleman came in and said, you know what, because I sent the check back and said, you've already paid. He said, just keep it for now, and don't worry about it, and next year we'll just, I won't see, exactly, I won't see a bill until year 3, for installment number 3.
I was really surprised that almost half the people paid it. Just paid it off.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about it. Interesting.
How many actually paid? What percentage of residents?
Well, there was 46% that paid in full out of 172 parcels.
Do you want exact numbers?
Yeah, go ahead.
That was in my report. 151 out of 172 parcels have paid. About 46% of those that paid in full.
Could not remember the numbers.
So we only have, and actually after today, only 20 that are late. And all of them have been invoiced with that late notice, so.
Well, I
hopefully we'll
think
see
that's
those
an
soon.
enthusiastic response.
too.
People liking to get new roads, yeah.
Right.
Good.
I do too.
And I honestly think a lot of the people that have not paid yet are people that might be out of state
Yeah.
and just
Oh,
haven't gotten
sure.
the invoices in yet, so.
Yeah, that's good.
Any other questions?
If no other questions, does somebody want to offer a motion for the financial statements?
I'll move to approve the financial statements for period ending May 31st.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Last but not least, HRC.
Yep. In your packet, you've asked for giving you updates, and as HRC provides us with the latest invoice, the one that we just received, to account for where we're at for the not-to-exceed fee balance, and it was as of May 24 of 2025, and that amount is in your packet, and as you'll see, out of the $680,100 not to exceed, we've expended $253,210.90, which means they have a remaining balance of $426,889.10 remaining before they reach the cap limit.
And again, we've seen no invoices from Florence yet.
Not yet, but I'm expecting that any day.
I would too.
I know that we had a rain delay, so,
Yeah.
you know, but yeah, it's depending upon, since this is the first time through that, you know, I'm sure that they have their process that they go through in order to bill. Radar,
Hitting some kind of milestone somewhere.
yeah, Raina, our auditor, said that, you know, typically construction companies like that will do it on a monthly basis, and they want their payment.
Yeah.
She said, don't be surprised if, you know, instead of having it mailed to them, they'll just say, hey, we can just stop by and pick up the check. So I don't know how they work, how they're gonna work with this specific contractor, but whatever it is, I mean, their billing will go through HRC to make sure that whatever they say that's on there, it's done. When it comes in, I review it with Jamie like I do every bill with the village manager before we go through, and I issue the check or cut the check, and then it's reviewed again and signed off by both Lisa and Jamie.
Good.
Okay.
Bill, I have a question. The $2 million that we got,
Mhm.
I didn't see that either, or I missed it in all the budget stuff.
It is broken up between major and local. It is in there. I had on a little bit of more information for you, and I've actually talked this about with Eric and Diane and Lisa when we went through the budget committee. I set up a separate insured cash sweep account at Huntington, and I deposited the $2 million in there. The reason for that is I like things in silos so that I know exactly where that $2 million is, what things that are dispersed out of that $2 million. It's going to make it easier for our auditor, because we've got to audit that separate from our regular audit for the state, and we're collecting 4% interest on that $2 million, which I look at every day, and until we start dispersing it. So again,
So that will help pay
So
off
it's
the
not
interest that we
in
have to pay on it anyway.
yes,
This is
maximize
how it's
interest,
divided,
reduce fees.
That's
all
all.
proceeds?
Yeah.
It's 760.
Do we pay the tree cutting service, the company, directly or through Florence?
You know what, if there's anything that Jerry Johnson does as far as
No, it's
tree
not Jerry
trimming,
Johnson.
okay, well then that's part of, I haven't
It's
seen an
another
invoice,
company.
but I'm sure if they remove trees out of the easement portion,
More than a dozen big ones.
I'm sure
Yeah.
that they have their subcontractor that probably does it for Florence. and that
I'm
will
just curious
probably-
if that was part of the proposal they initially gave us.
I think it was, because they're all
Yes.
labeled.
Degree.
Everything was labeled.
Labeled in the
Okay.
tag, the tags.
They looked
Yep.
at every tree that was going to be taken out.
Yeah, the scope of work that Florence is doing is based on the plans that HRC drew up,
Right.
so
But
everything that's on
there's been a
there is what's
work order
happening on the
change
ground.
already, and once you start a project and realize that sometimes those the
Right.
scope of work changes, so I was just
No,
curious.
I get what you're saying, yeah, the change order didn't have to do with tree removals or anything.
Okay.
Got it.
And that concludes the heavy treasure.
Did you,
The heavy agenda
Heavy
items.
agenda. I feel like meatloaf.
were you asking for a
Meatloaf?
motion on the not to exceed?
No, that's just a informational.
That's what I
Oh,
thought.
okay,
There's-
okay.
Yeah, it's just informational because council
Okay.
asked to make sure that we're tracking it. and-
Yeah, that's what I thought. No, it's wonderful. I just,
It had motion on here.
following my,
Motion on it, yeah.
I'm still working on some kinks.
It
Okay,
is.
wonderful. Wow, this is amazing.
Amazing, yeah.
So we're gonna go around for trustee comments. Trustee Miller?
No comments.
On the comments, I enjoyed working on the budget committee with Lisa, with Diane, certainly with Bill. And just so that the council and anybody else listening, it was a really serious schedule. We had 2 in-person meetings right here. We took a lot of time to go through a lot of line items, and we had a number of email exchanges. I thought it was a good process to get to where we ended up. I'm glad everybody supported it, but I think it was well done, so I enjoyed working with all my colleagues on that.
Great.
I'm glad you enjoyed working on it.
You trusted us.
That's all.
Glad that we're
Guess what,
trusted.
Mike?
I would like to acknowledge the work that Bill did. I mean, in the midst of COVID and everything else,
Yeah.
you came through with flying colors, and in the midst of some very difficult time delays from our major 2 expenditures, you were able to pull this together. So it just is a tribute to you and your professionalism. So very nicely done.
I would agree. And I really appreciate all the work that you do. And I know it's tedious. Well, no, I should say, to me, it's very tedious.
It's
But-
tedious to me too.
Yeah. You
That's why
do
I'm here.
such a good job. Thank you. Yeah, keeping track.
Yeah, thank you, guys. And again, back to Jamie in that thing you put together. That was wonderful.
No, thank you.
Yeah.
The only comment I have, not to disagree, but we only had one of our major expenditures that was holding us up. The other major expenditure was very timely, so just wanted to make sure that that was cleared up. Other than that, I have no other trustee comments. Does the staff have anything? No?
I so move.
Eat cake.
Time for cake. Second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? 8:27, motion passes.